Hi, I'm Lucy Highfield and I am a senior audiologist and I work within the audiology department. I am so incredibly proud to be an employee of WWL and more recently an inpatient. So my journey to become a mum hasn't been an easy one, and in 2016 unfortunately I suffered a miscarriage at around 11 weeks. And in 2019 I was referred by my GP to Fertility Fusion at Wrightington. So we had initial tests at Wrightington, like a blood test, and my husband had a sperm count, and we had our initial consultation with Mr. Harris. Mr. Harris was so caring, kind, compassionate, and explained everything in such a clear way. So he basically informed us that I had a very low ovarian reserve, and this came as quite a shock at the age of 29. He recommended ICSI, but also gave me realistic expectations at that point, which I think was so important for the rest of my journey. So in February 2019, we underwent our first round of ICSI and we went to Knutsford to the Hewitt Fertility Centre, and they did the egg collection and embryo transfer there. The team were incredible. They were so friendly and they really calmed my nerves at such a difficult time for us both. They collected, I think, about 2 eggs, so it wasn't a lot, and that was in keeping with this low ovarian reserve. I had my embryo transfer, and unfortunately that embryo didn't implant and the round was unsuccessful. So I went on to have round 2 in August 2019. Similar sort of story, collected a few eggs, and again, unfortunately, this was unsuccessful. So we had a follow-up with Mr. Harris and he gave us some options, and that option was for us to maybe pay for further treatment or to leave it or consider an egg donor, and we were very determined, so we decided to pay for 2 more attempts at ICSI, and we had our 3rd attempt in November 2019. And yeah, wonderfully, this attempt was successful. It was the best moment ever when I did that pregnancy test in December 2019, and to my delight it said I was pregnant, and just so happy with everything that we've been through, all the setbacks and the roller coaster of emotions, to have that positive test result. So as part of the IVF and ICSI, I had regular growth scans from around the 28-week mark, and I was seen by the consultant after every scan and everything was explained so well. And I think it was the 35-week growth scan, they mentioned that Poppy's weight hadn't really increased much since the previous scan, and they measured her at around 4 pounds. So they booked me in for an induction at 36 weeks and 4 days, and that was at the Royal Albert Edward Infirmary. So on the 20th of July at 2 o'clock I went to the maternity ward and I was greeted by the midwives who explained everything to me and started the induction process. So Poppy's heart rate was monitored throughout, and she didn't respond well to the hormones and the induction, and they were quite concerned, so they sent me straight for an emergency C-section, and Poppy arrived on the same day, on the 20th of July at 11:19 p.m. in the evening, and she arrived safely, and it was the most incredible experience, such a whirlwind of emotions. And she was 4 pounds 3 ounces, so very similar to what they sort of estimated her weight to be. So I spent 9 nights on the maternity ward, and that was because of Poppy's low birth weight. So Poppy was referred to the neonatal intensive care unit day 2 of being on the ward, due to low sugar levels, fluctuating sugar levels, and she was so well looked after on the neonatal ward by all of the nurses and the paediatric consultants. They were amazing. Poppy's my miracle baby daughter, and she was welcomed into the world in July last year during what was a very strange time in the middle of a pandemic, but the maternity staff and the neonatal nurses were absolutely outstanding, and they certainly went above and beyond to make sure that our care was received in an empathetic way. They were caring, they were understanding. My husband was able to visit for 2 hours a day on the maternity ward. I don't think I will ever be able to put into words how grateful I am to Mr. Harris, Erica, and the amazing team at Fertility Fusion. You don't realise what you have done for us as a family. We are just absolutely over the moon that we've got Poppy. And throughout the whole process I kept thinking, and it's so true, and as the fairy godmother once said in Cinderella, even miracles take a little time. So thank you very much for everything you've done.